Do you know about boho design yet? If you don't, it's awesome. There's multiple types of boho design approaches, and I swear it is the best way to design your Airbnb space right now. For the next couple of years, it's going to pop, it's popular, and there's tons of host benefits when you use boho. By the end of this video, you will be going shopping, I promise you. Let's jump in. Welcome back, Airbnb family. Thanks for tuning in to another video. Please, if there's any other design styles you want me to cover or anything you want me to educate you on, put it in the comments. The like does help the algorithm. I love you guys. Thank you so much. And if you're new here, subscribe. We talk about everything Airbnb, how to Airbnb, from finding the properties, negotiating with landlords, doing the comps to make sure it's going to be profitable, photographing, obviously furnishing, talking to guests, doing the money side of the business, scaling, hiring people, housekeeping. It's all covered right here for free on this YouTube channel. So welcome to the movement. Now let's get on to these boho designs. What you need to know first off is what is boho, and boho means bohemian. Bohemian slash kind of gypsy style design. And in the design space, it's under the umbrella of eclectic designs. Now, eclectic designs do really well because they're novel, they look different, which gets you higher clicks on Airbnb, higher conversion to yours, which pushes your ranking up and you get more bookings this way. Now, if you saw a previous video where I touched on MidCentury Boho, in that video, I also talked about themed properties. There will always be a special place for themed properties as well because they are also novel and eclectic and get tons of bookings. With that said, we're drilling down into boho because it is the champion of design right now. This video is going to start on MidCentury Boho like the 4 Brave Designs video, but we're going to move on and I'm going to show you so many different approaches to using the boho application. By the end of this video, you're going to be like super prepared for your next Airbnb property, or you might actually just go and revamp the current one that you have. So stick through to the end because I'm going to give you some real best practices. As always, I deliver the value on this channel. So MidCentury Boho, let's pop the screen up, ladies and gentlemen. This is where you take mid-century furniture, like I Love Lucy era, first, second episode of WandaVision, and you're going to overlay it with boho. Now, this allows me now to tell you really what is boho. So boho is the application of like super saturated colors, bring it back to earth, like woven tapestries, wicker stuff, like big colorful patterned rugs, and lots of plants. So what makes this so powerful, and I'm going to show you a few examples in this video of how exactly this is so powerful, is the furniture that you buy can be basic furniture for one design style. In this case, we're going with mid-century. So the couch, the TV stand, the coffee table, the tripod lamp, all of these items are just very squarely a mid-century design, which you might already have one. Now, all you have to do is go paint a bright accent wall. Like in that last video, I recommended a shade of yellow. I'm going to leave you the link for the kit that I made to launch your mid-century boho. You can see I've got 2 different yellow colors that I recommend as an accent wall because what you're going for is this bright outdoor gypsy, bring it down to earth kind of feel overlaid on top of this mid-century design. All of the stuff on the wall, all the tapestries, all of the artwork, the plants, all this stuff is not stuff that people interact with, right? So the mid-century furniture is all the stuff that you really have to worry about durability and exchanging out. And so the mid-century design idea is great because the stuff is highly available on Amazon, it's decently durable, and it's also decently cheap. So as things get used up and you need to replace it, you can just swap out the couch, you can just swap out the coffee table, but you don't really ever have to swap out the boho design decor, so that stuff survives for much longer, which drives your costs down. And driving your costs down will obviously make you more profitable. Now, we can argue fake plants versus real plants. There are plants that do survive well with low maintenance, but I really just use fake plants because it's less for my housekeepers to have to worry about, and that lowers our risk. If you do real plants, more power to you. But that actually brings me to my second design I want you to know about, which is jungle boho. I think jungle boho is so cool, by the way. My neighbor downstairs, he's a folk Americana musician, and when I walked into his place for the first time, this is exactly what it felt like, right? So you still have core furnitures, but they're more neutral in color. You're going to be using browns, you're going to be using wicker bath, like very much Tulum stuff. You're going to be using wicker, bamboo, all the kind of stuff that you could justify somebody handcrafting somewhere in the jungle, making all the furniture yourself. But then you're using tons of plants. And that's one of the pro tips from almost all of these boho designs is you can never go too nuts on plants because that's a huge part of the boho. But with the jungle boho, we're using neutrals, we're using browns, we're using greens and neutral colors, which means you don't have that same bright pop, but you get to play with that vertical space with all that green. And this is really great for smaller apartments because you can make that cozy and soft and neutral look where people don't get claustrophobic, they like hanging out in it. And where you have bigger spaces, bright high saturation colors, really aggressive accent walls work better in bigger spaces because people can really open up more and they don't feel so touched by all that loudness. So play with jungle boho if you have small spaces. And if you have good vertical space, play with vines and really tall plants. And you're going to have a blast and people are going to love that space. Touching on that last 4 Brave Design Ideas video, rustic, but now rustic boho. The cool thing about rustic boho is this is something that you can convert right now. A lot of you have rustic farmhouse style furniture because it's what's usually most available at all of your furniture stores. And there's a big benefit to rustic furniture. One, it's super neutral, easy to put in almost any space. The stuff is durable because it's real wood, real metal, and the stuff is designed to look lived in. So if you get little scratches on the stuff, no one's gonna get mad at you for the stuff like kind of wearing in and looking farmhouse, right? So now take a couple of these key pieces. The coffee table can be that wood metal. The TV stand can be the wood metal. The couch can be your typical farmhouse style couch. Otherwise, you can change it up, but I still like using either a dark or light neutral. In this photo, the person is using like that vertical space and they're draping curtains, almost like the same kind of curtains you'd put on a canopy bed, and just creating this really cool, very light and bright white colors kind of thing. Now this is lightly boho, right? You've got the plants, you've got some boho decor. The rug really also makes boho spaces. So really play with the floor and the walls, largely for boho is what you're starting to learn here, but you can still just drop in your rustic furniture. So you can do like a $300 budget changeover on your rustic living room and make it rustic boho that fast. And that's why I really think that this is gonna be great for a lot of you, because a lot of your competitors did rustic farmhouse, but they didn't think to go any farther. So they've got just that average looking space. And for that extra 300-ish bucks with the plants and the decor, you can make your space have so much life and personality, and you'll just start popping out of the photos and get more clicks, more conversions, and more bookings. If you remember, I talked about contemporary minimalism and how it's super important that you have a couple key pieces that are going to be more expensive than everything else because it really sells the luxury and like contemporary minimalism of the space. Well, the cool thing about Minimalist Boho is you could get away with not even having a couch, which is one of the main items that you'd probably be focused on in contemporary minimalism. So you can, and I don't mean like go cheap. You don't do like a cheap IKEA beanbag, put the TV on the floor, on cardboard boxes, and put a namaste poster on the wall. That is not minimalist boho here. You need to make a comfortable and alluring space, but if you see like some of these photos that I'm showing you here, we are really playing with the floor, literally. We're putting big pillows and bean bags and all the cozy stuff directly on the floor. And again, tons of plants, tons of high saturation in the design. We like using wood, we like using leather. This is stuff that always pops up in these designs but styles. And if you have high ceilings, and if everything is really low to the floor and you have high ceilings, it creates this crazy look where you're like, wow, this place is so big, because relative to the furniture, the ceiling is so high. I think in a couple of these photos, they're actually hanging plants from the ceilings too, which really draws attention to the vertical space. This is one, again, that you would start painting more crazy accent wall colors for. You don't necessarily have to, but I always encourage whenever you do boho, get a bright accent color. Another tip for minimalist boho, since you're putting stuff on the floor, layer rugs on top of each other. Have you ever seen somebody throw like a big rug and then throw another rug on top of it, or like have multiple rugs throughout the space where they're just kind of like laid out almost like it's a rug shop where you can go buy one? This is a really cool approach to create this very lively, slightly chaotic floor space that people know, oh, we're hanging out on the floor. And if you really want to go nuts, go buy a table that is low to the ground where you have to sit on pillows. You know, like the ones that you actually really see in Eastern cultures where people sit on these really cushy, but firm, like easy to support your back kind of pillows, and then that low table space. Believe it or not, some people actually eat on the floor in some Eastern cultures. I don't think we can sell that in a space so easily, but a low table where people know this is the table, I think even the most average traveler gets the hint and will find this rather fun. Now this brings you to what I believe to be the center of the boho movement, which is Boho Chic. It's just really an unapologetically boho design that says I love brunch, is really kind of what it does. Now this is great because it's just a straightforward and different design style, but unlike something like Rustic Boho, you have to plan for this. You can't just do a boho conversion from your mid-century or your rustic, so you're gonna have to go shopping for the right couch, for the right other bits of furniture. Obviously the pillows are one thing. I think one of the photos that I'm showing you here, the pillows are kind of nuts. But this really makes for like a punchy, powerful series of photos. And again, it's the photos that drive people to book with your space. And if you want to try something new from scratch, then go Boho Chic. Of course, like I said, paint those accent walls and have fun. And gold. Imagine gypsies actually did a good job pickpocketing and they made a lot of money, okay? Gypsy design, but like, look at me, I made it, right? So put some gold on your boho design. And just to prove to you that boho is so highly versatile, you can do things like steampunk boho. Now imagine taking like a train, something metallurgical, or a loft in an industrial space where you have exposed metallurgical pieces from back when it was a factory, and you can put all that kind of steampunk decor in it and then throw the boho over top. That is wildly just interesting and unique, and people are actually making this work. You can even do Victorian boho, right? Because what you're doing is you're of course taking the Victorian approach, lots of reds I'm imagining, and then throw the boho on top. If you want to be super fun and edgy, you can do Gothic boho. And I really think Gothic boho, if you're going to like have a best practice for this, like, okay, so how do I pull up Gothic boho? You do Bohemian chic, just with a slightly darker palette, right? And then you just paint the walls nearly black or black curtains and stuff like that. So you've got this deeper saturation in furniture with the boho chic, and then you throw the black on there and boom, you've got Gothic boho. And I really love dark walls lately. I think that they are really a change of pace. And if you hear me talk about this before, watch my previous videos about how to get bookings, contrasting your competition in ways that are obvious, where people are scrolling through listing to listing to listing. When you have something that's truly unique, it's going to stop somebody in their tracks and go, wow, this is not normal. Let me click on that. I'm curious, right? Where everybody else is white walls and like shades of blue and gray, you go like Gothic boho and you start getting tons of bookings, right? So be brave and have fun. And that's one example of how you can just go nuts. I encourage you to find other ways to throw Bohemian on top of your space. I don't care what it is that your design style is. Imagine some other design styles and put boho after. Put them in the comments. Maybe I'll even try to design an audaciously weird space that should not be boho, and we'll throw boho on top of it and see if it will work. In recap, your pro tips to pull off boho with almost any space: the rug really makes the space. Focus on an accent wall that's bright and lively colors in almost all situations. There are a few exceptions. And then do like down to earth, bring it back to earth kind of decor with like wicker and woven tapestries, but then high saturation dyes, right? We're talking bright yellows, reds, blues, purples, everything that you'd imagine a gypsy caravan to have. Now focus on those plants, the walls, the decor, everything that people cannot touch, so that way you can feel a bit more comfortable buying some stuff that you would normally be afraid of guests breaking, but with the logic now that all the interactive stuff isn't actually the boho stuff. And you know, surprisingly, boho stuff isn't that expensive, so you could still go nuts on all these boho decors and you probably won't spend that much money. Other things that people are doing is they're really taking advantage of vertical space with vines on the walls, hanging tapestries, or hanging plants from the ceiling. Let me know what design style you think is your favorite, and I will find a way to do some experimentation with it, and hopefully I can give you some feedback on what I think are some best practices for your favorite design style. Thank you so much for watching this video, and as always, I will see you on the other side.